yesterday was really what mattered. You finished out the series strong, weekend in general.
Yeah, tough week. Internally, dealing with a lot last week. Probably the toughest week I've had in my tenure here. Just sickness, some injuries, performance. A lot of stuff was going on last week in terms of that. So, was really proud to see senior Henry Cervantes kind of step up. We needed a big time start yesterday, and he put together the best start he's had here since he's been at ACU. So, when we needed it, there's something to be said about that. The guys going out and having a good outing when things are going well versus guys going out and stepping up when we really needed one there. So we were just kind of upside down on the pitching side all week. Started with with a game at TCU Tuesday. Kind of drove into the weekend. Offensively, there's some things we got to keep on working through consistently. But it was great to see those guys show up yesterday and really jump out in front and attack and end the weekend on a good note. And, which sets us up, hopefully, a little momentum going into a new week today.
And you have a rematch with TCU tomorrow. Compared to a week ago, what is going to be the difference this week going to Fort Worth?
Yeah, not giving up 5 runs in the first inning, hopefully. We just got behind it. And then, I think our hitters, the second time we hit it was 10-0, some walks in there. They had another 4-0 week last week, so they're really good. I think top 5 in the country in terms of just total offense. So they're a dynamic offense that if you create for them, you're going to play uphill most of the day. So, we need to go out tomorrow and just, if they put together some good at-bats, that's fine. If they do that with us creating some stuff for them, which has kind of been the MO here the last 4 games. I think going into Saturday's game, we had 11 pitchers on our staff with a batting average against it was less than 240, which is really remarkable. But then when you pin that down with some walks and some, you create some runs, it's just like the turnover margin. I think in other sports sometimes you're setting yourself up for a long day and a lot to cover offensively. So hopefully tomorrow night we can go over there and put together a better product on the mound. And we've defended really well all year. So if we can kind of flip that, which hopefully yesterday was a step in the right direction, we're going to have a chance to win a bunch of ball games down the back stretch. So we're 22 games in, 23. Still trying to figure out a way to play our best baseball. So hopefully if the back half of the spring plays out like we feel like it will, we're going to be right where we need to be at the end of the journey.
And Lamar this weekend, last time you played them was in the first round of the Southland Conference tournament. And before that, you played them the 1st of May and won those as well. That game, Hunter Geezer really stepped up, and also yesterday Hunter Geezer stepped up as well. So using that momentum into the weekend as well with him, what does that say, and what will the weekend bring?
Yeah, I think so. Lamar, I think they're first in our league right now in terms of just from the Southwest side. To our team yesterday, I think the one thing as we grow as a program is just dealing with maybe the expectation. I think we've gotten to a point, which is a good place to be. Like there's an expectation of winning internally, externally, which is a good thing. It's a healthy thing. But I think our guys have put a little bit of pressure on themselves some days when we're upside down or don't get off to the best start or get punched in the mouth on a Friday night and you got to show back up on Saturday. So the message yesterday was like, hey, hope we're all on the same page. Now, you've got everyone's attention. Like there's no more, it's ACU this weekend, let's just show up and play. There's a desire, and we should have the same desire every time we have a chance to compete. And I'm not saying we haven't. It's just one of those things. When you reference Lamar, we were 5-0 against them last year with a lot of really close, tight games. They're a very talented team. Their coaching staff does a great job down there. So we have their attention. They've got ours as well. So going down on the road this week, we've got 4 games on the road before we come back. 2 versus Air Force next week, and then Sam Houston, who we're right there neck and neck with. So you could probably say this will be our toughest stretch here coming up with 4 on the road, 5 at home next week. These 9 games are going to, probably paint a pretty good picture on how this thing's going to run out, if we can handle our business here. So we're fired up about that. I mean, the opportunity is right there before us, which is what you always want as a coach. It's, just get out and go play your best brand of baseball.
Take a look at yesterday again, though. A situation where you're on a 3-game losing streak, but you go into a game and your offense produces like that. What do you think that says to other teams in the WAC going forward to say, hey, this offense is still very dynamic, even in situations where maybe we're feeling a bit down, or in a situation where you've already
Yeah, well, as a coach, you're proud of them showing up when I don't know this to be a thing, but I don't know we've been swept at home since our staff's been here. We certainly had some opportunities in year one for that. I don't know that happened. So yesterday we were against it a little bit. Like lose a starting pitcher Saturday last minute, bullpen gets kind of chopped up. You're going in a little bit limited. You really need a good start. So I thought our guys embraced that well. In terms of messaging to anyone else, man, I think we've got a good club. I think a lot of people understand that. So we just got to go out and perform. We've got good players. We've got tough players. We've got good dudes, so we empathize with them when, Friday, Saturday doesn't feel real good. TCU didn't feel real good. But life happens and no one cares. No one's going to care when they're 42 years old later on either, So that's just been the message. I think that's we've got a really good foundation here, preparing for storms like this, and hopefully that was just one. You go through one every year. Last year it was the Texas UIW. We had a really tough spell right there, but that was before our 11-game win streak and winning 15 of 18 down the stretch. So not saying that's going to happen. Our schedule's going to be filled with speed bumps each week with the teams we play. But I like our chances when our guys show up like they did yesterday.
And then you talked about your bullpen a little bit. Austin Glaze coming back.
Yeah.
Comes out and pitches fantastic. How do you feel about that?
No, it was great to see him back. He's been a big piece of our program since. He had Tommy John last year, so for him to bounce back yesterday, it was 92, 94, and a bunch of strikes and a bunch of energy, which is just a shot in the arm right now. I think our guys, I've referenced this once before, anytime a guy goes through a surgery like that, that's not an easy task, and he's handled it as well as anyone I've ever coached. So I was really proud of him to come out yesterday and just kind of slow heart rate Glaze, and he did what he did. So that'll be a good shot in the arm, whether that's the front of the game or the back of the game as we move forward. But he's been in some big moments here. So we've certainly missed that presence early in the spring. But, he's putting himself in a good spot now to help contribute down the back stretch, which is great.
And then looking back at the bullpen, Trevor Jackson, this past week,
Yeah.
fantastic. Went out TCU, two innings of solid work. Looked like the stuff was there. And then, of course, against Tarleton, came back out. Looked really good through two-thirds. What are you thinking about him and how he's turning the season around?
Yeah, great. Trevor, it's a great story. Graduated, chose to come back. Man, the maturity he's shown here in the 3 years he's been in one of our uniforms has been great. He's one of our favorites. So for him to go out there, and I think, if I remember right, bases loaded, two of their best hitters right there, punch out. I think he hit a guy, then punch out. To really minimize a game, minimize an inning. As bad as it felt Saturday, we were tied in the 7th on Friday, as bad as we played, and then we had a lead, going into the 8th on Saturday. So I guess there's something if there's moral victories when you're not playing very well. That was one, but we want to win those, and we got to find a way to win those at the end. But Trevor certainly pitched really well last week.